Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. When it comes to the Warzone meta right now, we obviously have some of our obvious standout great options. And why are they the great options? Typically, they have a relatively fast TTK. They're mostly easy to use. They've got good stats for handling, range, etc., right? There's also a different niche of weapons that purely focus on time to kill. A lot of the time, these are higher skill gap weapons, but they're high risk, high reward for a reason. And today, I actually wanted to break down the new top 5 fastest TTK choices you could rock in Warzone right now, because there's some surprising picks here that, if you know what you're doing with the weapon, can be seriously dominant. So first up here, we've got the TR2. This is a semi-auto marksman, and it's one of those aforementioned higher skill gap options. To stay on target with this thing, you obviously really got to get used to how this thing is going to feel. How fast can you spam it? If you can spam it fast and stay on target at the same time, you're going to have the chance to have a really fast TTK. According to True Game data, at 48 meters, this thing's still in its 600 millisecond TTK range, hit scan range essentially. Very few options are going to be able to compete with that, but it's so dependent on, one, how fast you can spam it, as mentioned, and two, if you can spam it really fast and actually stay on target. It takes a lot of practice, a lot of patience to be able to do both those things, but once you can do that, this thing is going to feel fantastic. So with the TR2, I actually do opt for a gunfighter loadout, giving me 8 attachments. I feel like that's where this thing thrives the most. First up, for the optic, this is really a matter of preference. I like the Oturo red dot a lot here, so of course that's what I'm rocking. Monolithic suppressor here is great, extending out our range and our velocity, and reinforced barrel will do more of the same there. We end up with a 1500 velocity stat. That's absurd. So overkill, and yet it works so well. And then nearly a 55 meter effective damage range as well. Vertical foregrip on here, I've tested out a lot of these, whether it's precision for the idle sway, lightweight just for idle sway, vertical obviously helping out that horizontal control. I've noticed that as I'm spamming this thing more and more, I found myself to be the most accurate when using vertical, so I go with that there. Extended 2 is going to be a 40 rounder. It's the max option you get here, so obviously you're going to want to have that for that added safety net. I like quick draw rear grip for the faster ADS, just makes it a tad bit more snappy. Infiltrator stock for the better strafe speed, makes it a little bit more agile. And then rapid fire here, this only hurts the recoil, which of course the control is only as bad as you're spamming it, so obviously the faster you spam it, the more recoil it's going to have, but you can sort of learn that over time. And with rapid fire, the faster the rate of fire, the faster the potential TTK here. So this really completes the setup in an ultimate best TTK scenario. This thing is just nuts. Next up, we've got another semi-auto marksman, this time with the MCW 6.8. Yes, an MW3 weapon is in the mix for having one of the best TTKs in the game. You can see it's actually surprisingly not that difficult to use either. Like when I'm spamming it at that max fire rate, the recoil's there, but it's not awful, right? Like it's very manageable, and obviously if you want to slow it down, tap fire it a little bit more, get the easier shots on so you're accurate, you can do so. But this thing at 58 meters, like prime long range, 750 millisecond TTK, better than some of the standard meta options that we're rocking in the game at that range. Again, higher skill gap because it's a semi-auto gun, but also insanely rewarding if you know what you're doing. And some of the stats on the MCW 6.8 are just hilarious. Now, unfortunately, no gunfighter option here because this is an MW3 gun, but first up, again, go for whatever optic you're comfortable with. I like the 2.5 times eagle eye here quite a bit. I'm very comfortable with that reticle, and I feel like I'm very accurate with that, so of course I'm rocking that. Spirit fire suppressor will do the same as all the other suppressors here, extending out our range and our velocity. I also like the Crown 30 barrel. It gives you better control, idle sway, velocity, range, and firing aim stability. That's so clutch for this weapon. It's literally giving us everything we need for this in the long range. That's fantastic. 60 round extended mag you just don't see on marksmans often, so the fact that this has one is awesome. Then lastly, I go for the spire point rounds because with the added velocity and range here, yeah, we're up to a 1700 velocity. So insanely overkill. 53 meter effective damage range as well. If you really wanted more control, you could absolutely put on an underbarrel in favor of, you know, a muzzle or ammunition there. I'd probably keep the barrel because it's doing so much there, but you can definitely build this thing around the unnecessary velocity if you want, or you can go in on a more practical setup. Either way, if you're hitting shots, this thing's gonna feel good. And by the way, as we are breaking down all the weapons, all the setups here today, if you guys enjoy the video, you find it helpful, be sure to drop a like on it. It's always really appreciated, and it truly does help the channel grow. And of course, if you're new to the channel, you want to make sure that every single day you're in the know for everything going on in COD, this is the place to be. So feel free to hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications. Next up, another MW3 option, the Striker. This one's kind of been a mainstay in the top TTK conversation, while the feel is still a little bit different because obviously, yes, it is an MW3 gun, so its mobility, its handling, its overall control is going to be a little bit different than BO6. Its TTK makes it one of the best sniper support and versatile SMGs in the game. At 18 meters, like prime mid-range territory for a sub, a 651 millisecond TTK, again, just a stat you're not going to get with other subs, which is pretty surprising. So in this case here, I'm not a huge fan of the iron sights, so I do opt for a slate reflector, a little red dot here. Night hour would work here. If there's a different scope you like more, feel free to rock that. If you like the irons, more power to you. You can focus on a stock or some ammo or a rear grip to help out with control or range or mobility if you wanted to, but for me, I gotta rock the slate. That's where I'm gonna feel the most confident in my gunfights. Sonic suppressor gonna work the same again as every other suppressor, extending out our range and our velocity. Recon long barrel is gonna do more of the same there. So 667 velocity is insane for a sub, and then a 14 meter effective damage range that has a super minimal drop off beyond that. So this thing's great in the mid range. As of the time that I'm recording this video, who knows, I'm not sure what day this is going up, but by the time I post this, maybe they fix it. They took our jack slash underbarrel away. So for the time being, I'm using the DR6 hand stop just to help out with some ADS and some sprint to fire. I don't think this gun's too particularly difficult to use in the close range. But if you wanted a vertical underbarrel to get some better control, you could rock one of those. That'd be viable as well. But if jack slash gets fixed by the time that this video goes out, you'll know I'll have covered it in an update video, I assume. If that happens, then I'd be rocking that. But for whatever reason, Season 3 Reloaded took that away from us. I don't know why. Then lastly, 60 round extended mag, again, very basic, gonna work for all squad sizes there. But yeah, the Striker, don't sleep on this thing. Hey everyone, real quick, want to give a shout out to my friends over at G Fuel. All month long, G Fuel is celebrating anime, focusing on some of their awesome anime collabs and arts that they've got for various different flavors. They've got so many different flavors to choose from amongst their energy tubs. And of course, if you're just looking for some hydration, they've got their hydration packs that are phenomenal as well. As always, if you want to get anything at all from the G Fuel site, toss in code IMMORTAL at checkout and you'll save yourself some money. Link for that will be down in the description below if you're interested. Now, a weapon that we really haven't talked about at all this year is the PU-21. Heavy LMG, but it hits like a truck. At 50 meters, we're looking at a 704 millisecond TTK, and this thing kind of just spits bullets, right? The recoil's not too bad. I mean, you can stay on target relatively well with this thing. The reload, a little bit slower. Obviously, it's an LMG. 75 rounds though, like the DPM is going to be solid enough. So if you're a fan of LMGs, this is one that maybe you probably haven't heard too much of, but it gets the job done pretty nicely. Like I did not expect when I was looking at all my stats at True Game Data going, okay, could this be in the mix? Could that be in the mix? The PU-21, couldn't believe this was actually a standout option, and it works, and it doesn't feel that bad while doing so. So here again, first up, optic, matter of preference. I'm rocking that Oturo red dot personally. Monolithic suppressor for the better range and velocity, reinforced barrel for the better range and velocity. Up over an 1100 velo is fantastic. 57, nearly 58 meter effective damage range, really good as well. Obviously, we're exclusively using this in the mid to long range. I also go for the vertical foregrip, just makes the recoil a lot more predictable there. And then just to make sure I'm as accurate as I can be with this gun, I like recoil springs on here as well for the mix of horizontal and vertical control. 75 rounds, you don't really need an extended mag. If you wanted to drop down to a fast mag, I guess you could, but at that point, you're probably just better off using a normal assault rifle, right? Yeah, was not expecting the PU-21 to hold up as well as it does in terms of TTK, but lo and behold, here we are. And then lastly here, another surprising choice and definitely the highest skill gap option, maybe in the game, but definitely in this video, the FTAC RECON from MW2. This weapon's always had an insane TTK dating back to Warzone 2, but it's just not easy to use. Your extended mag here is 15 rounds, so the DPM is rough, but you're constantly reloading. If you hit your shots, this thing's crazy. At 45 meters, a 677 millisecond TTK. Almost nothing is touching that. You can see it's really not too terribly difficult to use. Obviously, the further out you are, the more recoil is going to be visually. And of course, if you're missing shots, the 15 rounds, you're going to be caught reloading in the middle of a fight. So extremely difficult to use, but also extremely rewarding if you get into those situations where you've got the ammo capacity and you can stay on target. So here again, I'm rocking that Corio 2.5 times Eagle Eye. Just works well for the mid to long range. I'm actually using the Bull Rider 16.5-inch barrel. This is going to be almost a barrel and a muzzle in one because it blocks your muzzle devices. It's better control, velocity, and range, which is solid there. Any vertical grip is a must-have here for the better control. Obviously, you want to be as accurate as you can possibly be, so I went with the Kimura, but like I said, anyone will do the same thing. That whopping 15-round extended mag. If this had a 25, a 30, a 40, whatever the case was, I don't think anyone would use anything but this is a rough safety net to have for sure. It's really not even a safety net. Then lastly, I had to go for high velocity here, as much as I'd love to do a stock or something else for control. Even with high velo, we're only at a 902 velocity, 24 almost effective meter damage range with, again, a minimal drop off there. But the stats are certainly not helping this thing outside of its TTK, which is so insane, and that's sort of how they balance it. But like I said, definitely probably the most high risk, high reward option maybe in the entire game. But in terms of time to kill, thing fries, as do all these options here today. And that's gonna wrap things up. If you guys enjoyed the video, you found it helpful, be sure to drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, feel free to hit that sub button on your way out to guarantee that on a daily basis you're in the know for everything going on in COD. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.